If you've spent any meaningful time navigating the trading landscape, you've undoubtedly encountered those seductive mantras. Strategy is everything, or uncover a battle-tested system and dominate the perfect entry. On the surface, these declarations carry an air of undeniable logic. After all, without a structured framework, how do you pinpoint the precise moment to initiate a position or secure your gains? Without a well-defined strategy, how do you cultivate the elusive consistency that turns chaos into capital? This is where every novice trader begins their odyssey, embarking on a relentless quest for the mythical Holy Grail setup, one that promises infallibility and shields against the sting of loss. They leapfrog from one methodology to the next, investing in glossy courses, exotic indicators, and enigmatic secret sources peddled with assurances of ironclad profits. Yet here's the stark, uncomfortable reality that the trading industry often buries beneath layers of hype. Profitability isn't forged in the crucible of your strategy alone. It's forged in your unyielding capacity to adhere to that strategy when the psychological stakes skyrocket and the market's volatility tests your resolve. This capacity, this unbreakable commitment, is discipline, and it stands as the singular, unforgiving divider between those who emerge victorious in the long haul and those who perish in the arena. Consider this deeply. You could possess the most statistically robust system imaginable, when backtested to reveal a staggering 90% win rate across historical data. But if, in the heat of live capital deployment, you falter, if you deviate from its protocols, the instant real money hangs in the balance, you are destined for ruin. Full stop. No exceptions. Reflect on the countless traders who've adopted deceptively simple frameworks, like a basic moving average crossover or pure price action principles. Systems that demonstrably generate positive expectancy when applied with fidelity. Innumerable examples exist. So why then do statistics relentlessly show that over 90% of retail traders ultimately hemorrhage their accounts? The culprit isn't a sudden erosion of the strategy's efficacy. Markets don't break sound edges overnight. The failure stems from the invasion of primal emotions. Fear that paralyzes, greed that inflates, frustration that erupts, forcing abandonment of the blueprint. Winners are slashed short in a panic to lock in fleeting gains. Losers are nursed indefinitely, clinging to the delusion of reversal. Trades are forced into existence outside the system's parameters, born of impulse rather than evidence. This isn't a flaw in the strategy's architecture. It's a catastrophic breach in discipline, a self-inflicted wound that no amount of technical refinement can heal. Discipline emerges as the unglamorous, understated cornerstone of trading mastery, the element that rarely headlines seminars or sells out webinars because it lacks the allure of spectacle. It's devoid of dazzling visuals, no pulsating indicators dancing across screens, no arcane algorithms whispering prophecies, no one peculiar hack to catapult your equity curve into the stratosphere. Discipline is profoundly mundane, almost ascetic in its repetition, executing the identical protocol day in, day out, even as boredom gnaws or excitement beckons toward deviation. It's the iron-willed enforcement of your precepts, verbatim, even when a cacophony of internal voices, doubt, euphoria, despair, demands rebellion. It's their salute no to the siren call of FOMO-driven entries, the vengeful counterpunch after a setback, the temptation to inflate position sizes in the glow of a triumphant streak. In essence, the vast majority of traders already command strategies with inherent profitability potential, edges honed through study and simulation. What eludes them is the psychological fortitude to deploy those edges without the sabotage of ego or emotion. They convince themselves that salvation lies in accumulating more arcane knowledge, layering additional tools, or chasing the latest indicator fad, when the true deficit is raw self-mastery. Trading, at its core, isn't an exercise in flawless market divination. It's an arena for sovereign self-governance, where you triumph by neutralizing the market's provocations that lure you into self-destructive choices. Envision a tale of two traders to crystallize this truth. Trader A wields an elite, algorithmic powerhouse, meticulously engineered, stress-tested across a decade of data, boasting razor-sharp entries and exits with documented profitability. Trader B, conversely, relies on an elementary breakout model, one graspable in mere minutes by any motivated newcomer. The pivotal divergence? Trader A is discipline deficient. After enduring a modest duo of consecutive drawdowns, doubt creeps in. They begin micromanaging parameters mid-trade, injecting unsolicited positions, and escalating risk in a bid to reclaim control through force. Trader B operates with the precision of a disciplined operative, adhering to their modest blueprint with absolute rigidity, impervious to mood swings or external turbulence. Over the marathon of months and years, who claims enduring supremacy? Trader B, unequivocally. Not due to superior intellectual design, but because their discipline forms an impenetrable bulwark against the erosive forces of human frailty. This revelation shatters the prevailing illusion that trading triumphs are birthed from intricacy. Aspiring pros scour the depths for convoluted technical convolutions or obscure indicators shrouded in exclusivity, believing complexity harbors the keys to wealth. Yet an unflinching examination of elite traders, the consistent compounders, unveils a paradigm-shifting pattern. Their arsenals are often Spartan. Core tenets like support and resistance levels, trend adherence, breakout validations, or supply-demand zones dominate their playbooks. The true intricacy resides not in the mechanics of the strategy, but in the profound mental architecture required to implement it relentlessly. Free from the insidious creep of self-undermining behaviors, why, then, does discipline prove so elusive, so perpetually out of reach? The answer delves into the psychological trenches. Trading unfolds as an unrelenting war zone within the mind. Each click of the buy or sell command pits you against millennia of evolutionary programming. Our neural circuitry, honed for primal survival, prioritizes immediate threat avoidance and reward seizure over probabilistic reasoning. A position tilting adverse triggers the ancient flight response. Hold firm, pray for reversion, because acknowledging defeat equates to existential failure in the brain's archaic ledger. A profitable trade blooming green awakens the hoarding instinct. Snatch the gains swiftly before they evaporate, safeguarding the bounty at all costs. These ingrained reflexes stand in diametric opposition to trading's golden mandates. Amputate losses swiftly and without remorse, while granting winners the latitude to flourish unbounded. Discipline, therefore, transcends mere rule-following. It demands a heroic confrontation with your own biology, a deliberate rewiring to override instincts that served ancestors in the savannah but sabotage modern speculators in the charts. Before plunging further into these depths, pause for introspection. Are you presently ensnared by the tendrils of fear that freeze your trigger finger, doubt that erodes conviction, or the compulsive itch to overtrade? The sobering fact is that trader demise rarely traces to strategic inadequacy. It originates in psychological collapse, the unchecked dominion of the mind's darker impulses. This is precisely why I authored my comprehensive ebook, Master Your Mind, Master Your Trades. Within its pages lies a treasury of battle-hardened, actionable protocols to harness turbulent emotions, forge unbreakable discipline, and operate with the poise of a seasoned professional. If you're prepared to elevate your trading from fragility to fortress, follow the link in the description or pinned comment to secure your copy without delay. Resuming our exploration, scrutinize your personal trading chronicle with unflinching honesty. How frequently have you meticulously crafted a trade thesis only to watch it disintegrate the moment skin was in the game? You vowed a steadfast 2% risk cap per position, yet a euphoric windfall inflated your hubris. prompting a reckless 10% wager on the subsequent opportunity, because invincibility coursed through your veins. You swore allegiance to immovable stop-losses, but as price grazed your exit, desperation compelled you to nudge it farther afield, unwilling to countenance error. You pledged abstinence from revenge trading, yet a stinging defeat ignited fury, propelling you back into the fray for vindication rather than validation. These aren't mere lapses in tactical acumen. They are profound disciplinary fractures, the authentic architects of why most traders languish in perpetual mediocrity or outright failure. The market metes out punishment not for suboptimal strategies, many mediocre ones endure, but for the anarchy of inconsistent discipline. A trader, armored in discipline, even wielding an average edge, can ascend to profitability through meticulous risk guardianship, unwavering uniformity, and the excision of sentiment-driven folly. Conversely, the proprietor of a world-class system bereft of discipline courts inevitable catastrophe. It's merely a question of timing, not possibility. What implications does this hold for your journey? Cease the futile pilgrimage for strategic nirvana. Abandon the delusion that the forthcoming guru, seminar, or gadget will transmute your fortunes. Such pursuits are illusory if you lack the internal command to weather adversarial price action without capitulation. The authentic labor of trading transpires not amid flickering candlesticks, but within the labyrinth of your psyche. Your trajectory hinges on your proficiency and plan fidelity during the moments when adherence demands the greatest fortitude. Discipline forms the bedrock upon which every legendary trader constructs their empire. Absent this foundation, all superstructure, strategies, analyses, insights crumbles into dust. With it, even the most rudimentary framework can accrue compounding wealth across epochs. Thus, discipline eclipses strategy in every conceivable metric, because strategies themselves don't betray traders. Traders, through lapses in resolve, betray their strategies. Discipline extends far beyond rote compliance. It cultivates a resilient mindset capable of enduring the market's ceaseless ebb and flow. Every tick, every formation, every signal serves as a rigorous examination of your composure. The price action remains indifferent to your aspirations, your pride, or your desperation to prevail. It merely manifests reality, compelling you to respond with precision. Failing traders falter by yielding to emotional hegemony over rational protocol. The pathway to disciplinary mastery commences with a paradigm shift. Trading isn't predicated on omniscient forecasting, but on the flawless orchestration of a probabilistic blueprint amid ambiguity. Emotional sovereignty emerges as the clandestine advantage of trading titans. While neophytes obsess over entry signals, oscillator configurations, or methodological tweaks, veterans allocate the lion's share of their bandwidth to self-regulation. Fear, greed, and hope aren't peripheral nuisances. They are formidable adversaries, actively engineering your downfall with every unchecked incursion. Fear induces paralysis. You glimpse an impeccable alignment, yet hesitation prevails, awaiting illusory confirmations that evaporate opportunities as loss aversion hijacks decision-making. Greed proliferates chaos. A solitary victor morphs into a barrage of reckless follow-ups, each layering risk in pursuit of amplification, oblivious to the fragility of streaks. Hope ensnares you in quagmires, whispering delusions of recovery as you violate exits, transforming manageable setbacks into account-crippling hemorrhages. The market extends no debts or mercies, yet discipline bestows an inexhaustible arsenal. The majority of traders don't collapse from ignorance of mechanics. They implode from incapacity to master the elemental imperatives the market enforces. Discipline embodies proactive execution even when intuition recoils in protest. It mandates loss acceptance per protocol despite visceral urges to cling. It enforces profit realization aligned with targets even as momentum tantalizes with visions of infinity. Discipline manifests as sustained, uniform action across vast temporal horizons, trade upon trade, session upon session. Strategies lend themselves to duplication. Discipline demands personal forging, rigorous testing, and perpetual fortification. The nucleus of emotional dominion lies in cultivated neutrality, a state not of effective suppression, but of outcome detachment, with laser focus on procedural integrity. Neutral operators refrain from premature victory laps or loss-induced meltdowns. They honor directives irrespective of proximal results, recognizing that individual trades are ephemeral specks in an expansive mosaic. Self-esteem decouples from ledger fluctuations, anchoring instead in executional excellence. This orientation breeds tranquility, the paramount trading superpower. Composed minds render lucid verdicts. Agitated ones court calamity. Attaining serenity amid contra-market gyrations is profoundly challenging in practice. That visceral churn in your gut as equity erodes marks a crucible moment, the schism between account cultivators and detonators. Discipline empowers plan adherence even as pain intensifies, resisting the allure of stop relocation, positional augmentation, or loss chasing. Each infraction escalates peril exponentially. Masters of motional governance internalize each trade as a fractional chapter in a grand narrative. No solitary defeat dooms, no triumph emboldens recklessness. Decisions flow from calibrated reason, not capricious yearning. Forging this discipline isn't instantaneous. It crystallizes via iterative practice and introspective dissection. Trade journaling, error autopsies, and behavioral audits constitute the forge. The market exacts no leniency for sentimental missteps. Every impulse, infraction, or effective override etches scars on your capital. Systematic documentation metamorphoses raw errors into refined wisdom, transmuting reactive volatility into anticipatory command. You preempt emotional surges, intervening preemptively to preserve sovereignty. Risk stewardship emerges organically from emotional discipline. Effectively compromised traders overexpose, proliferate entries, and flout sizing edicts. Disciplined counterparts delineate precise risk quanta per engagement, absolute loss thresholds, and strategic disengagement points. No trade possesses annihilative potential. Drawdowns register as transient hurdles, not existential threats. This risk-centric ethos instills operational assurance across turbulent regimes. Discipline further dismantles revenge cycles. Post-loss rage, despondency, or insecurity spawns emotionally charged reprisals, divorced from strategy and doomed to amplify damage. Emotional combatants war against the market. Disciplined ones align with it, retreating to await authenticated signals. The arena yields to executors, not pursuers of catharsis. Patience, too, intertwines inextricably with discipline. The market unfolds as an impartial pedagogue, not a foe. Impulsive traders infiltrate positions from ennui, anxiety, or avarice, hallucinating setups in noise. Discipline instills vigilant restraint. Optimal trades often materialize in abstention. Patience curtails errors, optimizes entry vectors, and preserves capital for high-conviction junctures. Hasty actors fumble timings, embrace inferiority, and inflate hazards. Patient disciplinarians perceive clarity, capitalizing with surgical accuracy. Discipline further manifests as resilience amid inevitability. Markets eschew linearity. Drawdown sequences are inexorable. Undisciplined souls buckle, discarding systems prematurely, permitting erosions to metastasize. Resilient disciplinarians absorb impacts, uphold constancy, and view controlled deficits as investments in probabilistic uplift. This tenacity sustains viability, enabling exponential growth while peers capitulate. Ultimately, discipline transcends error aversion. It engenders opportunity proliferation. By subduing affects, rigid rule adherence, and neutral engagement, you position for recurrent exploitation, sustaining edges, mitigating superfluous perils, and enduring tempests that obliterate the undisciplined. The market remunerates patience, uniformity, and effective mastery beyond any oscillator's wildest promise. Interrogate your ledger. How many prospects evaporated under fear's shadow? How frequently did greed propel superfluous risks? How often did hope or ire derail viable theses? Each affirmation illuminates a teachable fracture. Discipline isn't a singular conquest. It's an eternal vocation. Each position probes your fortitude. Each probe refines your psyche. Discipline vanquishes strategy because it guarantees edge deployment, error minimization, and peril orchestration. Strategies yield no dividends. Disciplined enactment does. Steadfast executors eclipse superior systematizers by weathering adversities, harvesting probabilities, and engaging with unclouded vision. Sans discipline, perfection succombe. With it, simplicity begets magnificence. Pose this to yourself. Do you trade your blueprint or do your affects commandeer? Your response delineates destiny. Trading consistency isn't rooted in flawless mechanics or omniscient captures. It's in architecting a regimen your psyche embraces unhesitatingly. Multitudes falter chasing labyrinthine synergies of tools, geometries, or esoterica. Reality distills to rigor, triumphant replication. No engagement seeks righteousness. It demands procedural exactitude. Irrespective of affect, result, or recency, discipline mandates action on aligned prospects and abstention otherwise. Absent it, brilliance succumbs to anthropic entropy. Human fallibility exploits trading's vulnerabilities relentlessly. Diminutive deficits ignite terror. Modest surpluses kindle avarice. Cognition perpetually subverts logic with effective overrides. Failures capitulate to these dictates, pursuing phantoms, compounding defeats, jettisoning tenets amid unease. Discipline erects a bulwark, prioritizing enactment over consequence, evolving reactivity into proactivity. It demarcates perennial victors from serial vanquished. Trading's harshest epiphany positions eluded a minion. No configuration assures bounty. No cue certifies triumph. Discipline renders uncertainty navigable, embracing edges, detaching from attachments, transcending validation quests. Trades dissolve into sequential plan elements. This lucidity enables objective perception and resolute action. Sans discipline, righteousness imperatives obfuscate, precipitating peril and ruin. Discipline further orchestrates exposure governance. Failures wager excessively, wield leverage recklessly, disregard halts, impelled by hubris, not calculus. Disciplined protocols prescribe inviolable risk ceilings, explicit egresses, calibrated volumes. Deficits assimilate as systemic norms, not indictments. Adherence safeguards principle, perpetuates prospects, facilitates accretion. No methodology offsets profligacy, yet discipline elevates modesty to sustained yield. Patience, again, anchors discipline. Temporal rhythms dictate. Premium junctures evade hourly mandates. Compulsive actors mandate perpetual engagement, coercing invalidity. Patience activates selective control, awaiting criterion convergence, curbing fallacies, amplifying efficacy. It bifurcates mastery from impulse. Resilience complements volatility, streaks, anomalies assail. Panicked abandon, disciplined processual fidelity views as probabilistic transients. Confidence derives from replicable enactment, not infallibility, rooted in deed, not delusion. Routine galvanizes, elites standardize, pre-session reconnaissance, criterion delineation, volumetric calibration, post-mortem synthesis. Habituation expels subjectivity, automates excellence. Discipline evolves from exertion to essence. Discipline's supremacy, uniform application, trumps sporadic brilliance. Identical apparatuses yield divergent fates via executional variance. Markets chastise variance, not design. Psychological bedrock fosters evolution. Trades loop feedback. Disciplined dissection refines. Emotional evasion perpetuates cycles. Trading scientizes via iterative enhancement, environmental dominion. Externalities, headlines, feeds, colloquy, disrupt. Disciplined filtration sustains focus on schema hazard. Enactment, journaling enforces accountability, chronicling rationale. Effect, consequence confronts lapses, crystallizes evolution. Discipline practices and perpetuates. In summation, discipline undergirds triumph. Replicable tactics abound. Executional constancy distinguishes. It reinfects, mandates peril, forges tenacity, automates prosperity. Temptations assail universally. Mastery shields, orients, propels. Zanzit optima falter. With it, humility ascends. Interrogate, plan governed or effect subjugated. Discipline misconstrued as coercion or blind obedience misses profundity. Its holistic mindset, architecture, ritual, enacting schema amid dread, avarice, diversion. It neutralizes impulses preemptively, rendering virtue innate. Markets honor self-sovereigns overseers. Overtrading pitfalls, incessant urges from stimuli. Discipline mandates criterion fidelity. Eschews cacophony, engages edged alone, intentional, not reflexive, patience, cornerstone, activity, efficacy, awaiting primes, superiority, erodes hazard, bolsters assurance via objectivity, risk inseparable, strategy secondary to containment. Discipline crystallizes stops, bounds, predictability, transmuting hazard to metric, effective command, traps of hesitation, excess, entrapment buffered by detachment, losses normative, gains procedural routine amplification, frameworks minimize load, ingrained via cadence, even turbulence yields to habit. Reflection, feedback alchemizes, journaling, accountability, behavioral refinement, experiential wisdom, external mastery, curation of inputs, environmental sculpting for clarity, confidence, processual, execution rooted, resilient to flux. Perspective longitudinal, edge iteration compounds. Discipline tolerates transience for endurance, uncertainty opportunized, planned, bounded, probabilistic, chaos structured. Conclusion, discipline imperative. Framework provided, execution ensures. Impulses universal, cultivation edges. Query, disciplined unwavering or emotional arbitration. Discipline lifeline, applicative constancy amid accessible tools. Daily focus, impulse subjugation, rule invariance align with edge, peril horizon. Brilliance fails, son. Enactment profits. Position sizing test. Exposure control differentiates. Discipline mechanicalizes effect to manageable. Stops valorized. Fear structured via immutability. Routine overstated. Reactive scanning versus systematic momentum. Effects antidoted. Observation sans submission. Singular irrelevance to plan. Reflection, evaluative, behavioral, decisional. Effective honesty patterns adjustment. Market patience. Conditional awaiting conserves. Intentionalizes, consistency product. Controlled replication compounds. Reliability, externals battlefield, noise filtration. Steady, confidence-independent process. Reinforces irrespective acceptance. Controlled deficits inform. Noticile, objectivity amid probability. Bridge, knowledge to profit, error to growth. Reactive to mastery. Challenge universal. Application sustains. Foundational profitability, control, professionalism. Query, disciplined governance or impulsive subjection. Marathon, test, doubt, uncertainty. Failure, sprint, riches. Reality grinds. Resilience steadies amid streaks, erosions, shocks. Resilience post-devastation clarity. Strateginal sans wiring. Lost threat hormones cloud. Revenge. Escalation, abandonment. Control, acceptance, processual. Calm training, detachment. Identity from PL, expense probabilistic. Preparation, outcome visualization reduces shock. Risk, manageable stakes, businesslike. Bounce back, pause, review fidelity, amend, reward, Rule adherence reinforces long-term acknowledgement, control, refusal, effective dominion. Tests, perpetual. Resilience forwards, victors. Storm survivors controlled. Query, storm-ready disciplined or emotional destruction. Initiation, discipline incarcerates. Restraint missed allure. Restraint amid spikes. Social brags tempt breakage. Flash, unsustainable. Discipline enduring. Pain known. Chases reverse. Hopes sink, stops shift. Losses confidence. Frustration. Fidelity moments controlled. Calm breakthrough. Self-control, soul mastery. Casino analogy. Edge long run. Trade spin. Failure. Knowledge present. Execution absent. Greed, fear. Impatience. Sacrifice long above short. Skip temptation. Small losses. Conservative risk. Habituation natural. Identity freedom. Mastery unshakable. Cycle escape. Gratitude. Choice. Luck, hope, or discipline. Future. Highs, lows versus control compound. Hundreds disciplined build. Protection. Confidence, consistency, freedom. Embrace rules, liberate. Urge, reminder. Undisciplined away. Disciplined toward, tests tempt. Process, patience wins. Mastery, self. Reward follows. Truth, discipline claims freedom. Ready?